window of opportunity.
Yes.
It's brought up almost every day on social media. Somewhere I'm sure it is. Peter DeLuise directed a tour de force for Richard Dean Anderson and Christopher. Well, all of them really, but I mean Rick. His scene at the end with Robin Mosley as Malachi. If it doesn't bring a tear to your eye, or at least hit you in the feels, there's something wrong with you. Tell us about Window of Opportunity.
Window of Opportunity originally, the pitch I came up with was very dark, and I think I might have mentioned this in a previous discussion. The fact that it was really about SG-1 encountering a civilization that was facing an apocalyptic event, and we're using a device to re-loop time in order to give them time to avert the catastrophe that never could be averted. And I remember Rob reading, and he was like, why don't we do this? And he was offering me, he's like, do this and change this and that. And suddenly I realized, I was like, we're just doing Groundhog Day. And he was like, yeah, do Groundhog Day.
And you give that line to Rick.
I was like, yeah. And at the time I was like, we can't just do Groundhog Day. And I realized really what, I think, was it Hemingway who said every story is already being told? Ultimately, for some variation of the story is already being told. But what makes it special is that it's your characters who are living, experiencing it. And especially the fact that it's O'Neal and Teal'c, the two guys who know nothing about science, who know nothing really, little about the ancient language, were the ones who have to figure it out. And, one of the things I always loved about Stargate was a sense of humor. I remember, Brad telling me one day, he was like, this series is just a comedy now. We're just doing a comedy. And
many respects.
Yeah, I mean, but he was exaggerating, but I always found humor goes a long way towards allowing audiences to connect with characters, but they bring those moments of levity that, by contrast, make the darker moments that much darker or more poignant, like that the scene with you mentioned with O'Neal appealing to Malachi.
It's beautiful, and it's one of the most natural scenes of the show. If you really take a moment to understand where Malachi's pain is coming from, and force that character to think about what's going to happen next, and then what's going to happen after that. I mean, unless he's just so love-stricken and over the loss of his wife that he'll be willing to sit through her death again and again. What else can you do but shut it off?
Correct.
This is such an important episode of the franchise. I'm very curious as to what that original draft looked like. Did SG-1 come upon the planet and the time loop happened in front of them, and because they were out of that planet's loop, they just watched everything restart? No, to
be fair, it wasn't a draft. It was just a one-page pitch.
I see.
So, and from that, we ended up with the outline for Window of Opportunity. So it was very different, but it wasn't really fully fleshed out. It was just an idea at that point.
And in that original idea, SG-1 watched the civilization just go ahead and die?
No, but well, at the end, yes.
Okay.
So, now that I think of it, just back-to-back destroyed civilizations is what I pitched. And neither of them were destroyed in the end. So
Joseph Mallozzi, PhD, provides Latin for the novice in this.
Yes, that was Peter DeLuise. We were in the in the concept meeting, and of course the props department. What kind of shoelaces? What color shoelaces do you want? What kind of shoes do you want? What kind of a book do you want? And Peter was like, what was it? Latin for the novice. It's like author Joseph Mallozzi, and they're like, okay, and
who chose Fruit Loops?
We wrote Fruit Loops into the script, and we were having trouble actually getting the rights to Fruit Loops. And remember, yeah, they came back and they were like, "How about Cheerios?" And we're like, "No, it doesn't make any sense."
Jack,
yeah.
He's
so
a kid.
we ended up, and also Fruit Loops. Anyways, so we ended up getting the Fruit Loops. Yeah,
and they had to be glued to the spoon.
I don't recall. Like, I wasn't on set for that.
Okay. Oh my God. And so it ran short. I would think that, an aside, I would think that Daniel heavy episodes would typically move through the dialogue faster. One of the things that Martin Garrow told us about is when he was writing for First Contact, he had to keep in mind that Rodney and Daniel both spoke very fast.
Sure.
And that has to come into play when you're timing episodes, the velocity at which the actors will move through the content.
Yeah. I mean, I think back to SG-1, and our those scripts would average 52, 53 pages, whereas the Atlanta scripts would average closer to 58, 57, 58, sometimes 59 pages.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter was that McKay had to move along a lot of the plot.
Yep.
That poor guy. That was his primary role, in addition to just being Rodney.
Yep.
Wow. Any fan reactions that you've gotten to Window of Opportunity over the years that stand out in your mind? It's people bring it back again and again in terms of heroes and the fifth race and this episode as to, I showed this to my little cousins. I showed Window of Opportunity to them, and I showed Ergo to them as hooks to get them invested in the show. Are you surprised that it continually comes up?
I am kind of surprised, to be honest with you. Just we did 300 episodes. It was like last year or maybe earlier this year, I did the Stargate Greatest Episode Challenge, where I had all the fans vote on episodes, and then we did kind of the head-to-head, and Window of Opportunity ended up coming out on top, which was I'm glad fans loved the show so much. But I think I think the funnier episodes tend to do well, but it was also a funny episode with heart and humor.
Exactly.
You get a combination of that, then you have a winner. So I'm just glad it worked out and the fans enjoyed it.
Exactly right. And with Dark Matter, all the time in the world.
Yep. And it's kind of funny. I was saying, I bookend my career with time loop episodes.
Was there a subconscious hope that it would be along the levels of success in that individual episode?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That one was actually, in many ways, a very difficult episode to write, but also a very fast write as well. It was weird in that I knew I wanted to do a time loop episode, and I ended up watching 24 time loop episodes of every genre show that has ever done a time loop episode, because they've all done them, right? So you want to do something different. So I synthesized the formula, and I try to kind of find a way to subvert it. And we were in the room. So this is an example where you're in the room and you're trying to spin the idea and it's not going anywhere. One of the things my former writing partner, Paul, was very good at was flagging issues, which he would do. But sometimes when he would do them in the room, he would not offer up a solution. And so we would kind of hit a wall. And we spent 2 days in the room, writer's room, and we got nothing done on Window of Opportunity. Sorry, not Window of Opportunity, on All the Time in the World. And then I remember it came time for me to write it, and I just started writing, and I pretty much wrote the entire script in a day, which I've never done before. In a way, but it was a funny episode, and I tend to write the funnier ones faster. And so everything just kind of came together in a scary way. And I don't really know how to explain it. I'm sure other writers have experienced it as well, where you're getting nowhere with the script, you think you're never going to get it done. And then somehow magically the narrative falls into place. All the pieces fall into place, and you come up with a script, not only a script that is serviceable, but a script that turned out to be a fan favorite, the Dark Matter fan favorite.
Well, I would think that it would have something to do with the fact that you spent so much time chewing on it, both in the writer's room and subconsciously, that when it came time for you to put pen to paper or fingers to text or whatever, that some part of that had facilitated the faster process, and they just weren't necessarily aware of it.
That's probably a very good point. Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.